Welcome everyone to the BX Sports Jedi Network, and today in this video, I'll be breaking down this upcoming UFC card in Seattle, UFC Seattle, Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, and and if you can't give this video a thumbs up, share, comment who you think is gonna win. You're excited for this card. Now this fight night card, excuse me. This card 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, was pretty stacked. Like it was one of the more stacked fight night cards recently in the recent UFC. Considering Dominic Cruz was supposed to retire against Rob Font, but unfortunately he got injured and pulled out and decided to retire, which is sad way for them to go. And his injuries has plagued his career. This is a guy who's considered by a lot of people the greatest bantamweight of all time. Some argue it should be Marab, and Marab does have a case for it. Does have a case for it, but still. Has a Hall of Fame career, and weren't for injuries, who knows what his career could have been. Probably could have a more legendary career, but it is what it is. As Rob Fong gets a new opponent for that fight, he takes on the 16-0 Gene Masamoto and coming out of Brazil. Also, Edson Barboza was supposed to fight in this card, but Edson Barboza got injured and had to pull out against Steve Garcia. As Garcia, they'll probably give him a new fight for him on another card. And Curtis Blades was supposed to take on a newcomer in this card, but they decided to move that card to UFC. That fight, excuse me, to UFC 313 because they probably want to stack that pay per view even more because they need some additional fights, additional help for that card. That pay per view does have Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev. As we know, Alex Pereira is probably the biggest star in the UFC currently, and it does have a co-main event, Justin Gaethje and Dan Hooker. But still, it was very top heavy. I guess they want to make that card even stronger. To decide to add that fight there. Also, Macy Shadowstone was supposed to take on Kelly Vieira, but she pulled out because of injury. And there probably was another fight on this card that was supposed to happen, but then one. And I think it was Adam Fugate. Adam Fugate was supposed to fight, but I think he pulled out because of injury. So this card's had a lot of fight cancellations, fights being changed, or some fight being pulled entirely in this card. So I won't be breaking down three fights, unfortunately, because unfortunately with Rafa and Gene Masamoto, I'm not too familiar enough with Masamoto's terms of his fight, in terms of his resume, to in terms of like how he fights to make a prediction for that fight. He is 16-0, so you can argue maybe he's the next upcoming guy in bantamweight, but still I haven't seen enough to make it to confidently say it would be Rob Font. But still, being Rob Font for him would be massive. It'll probably put him in the rankings, and it'll definitely get more people talking about him. That fight's gonna be at 140 catch weight, which makes sense because Masamoto hasn't had enough time to cut down 135, so that's fair to him. Also, Alonzo Manfield's fighting Julius Walker. Now, I'm not familiar with Julius Walker at all enough to make a prediction for that fight, so that's why I won't be making predictions for those fights, unfortunately, because I'm not too familiar enough with them. But if you guys are, let me know who you guys think is going to win those fights and why. I like to know. But I'll start off with this fight in the featherweight division. Gene Silva taking on Melsik Bakarin, excuse me, as Gene Silva as was the newcomer of the year last year in the UFC as he went 3-0 in 2024, and he along with Cal Barajo led like the movement of the fighting nerds as they have taken over the UFC. Well, they've somewhat taken over the UFC and they have established themselves as the new like premier gym in MMA out of Brazil. And just in general, premier gym in general, but definitely, I'll just say they come out of Brazil, the fighting nerds. But Gene Silva went 3-0. He's a guy who a lot of people are very high on him, and a lot of people think he could be a contender in the featherweight division. Now I'm kind of surprised they're not giving him a ranked opponent, considering he went 3-0 in 2024, and I think if you count his contenders, his Dana White contender series fight, he's 4-0 in the UFC technically. I think he might actually have. Hang on, let me check real quick how many fights he had in UFC. I know he went 3-0 last year, but I think he might have had a fight in 2023. Even though he's a newcomer, technically he won't be a somewhat newcomer considering he already had a fight in 2023. But still, not many people knew about him before 2024. That's when he made a name for himself. Give me one moment to check my phone. Oh no, he had a Contender Series fight in 2023. Okay, so he didn't have a fight outside of Contender Series. Well, excuse me, in the UFC post Contender fight series, post Contender, yeah, Contender fight series before 2024. So yeah, he is definitely a newcomer. Anyway, a lot of people wanted to get ranked because how well he looked, especially he went up in 155 and beat Drew Dober by doctor stoppage. And Dober's a guy that a lot of people beat in the lightweight division in order to be ranked or get ranked opponents. And people think, man, if he went up and beat Drew Dober and is able to, get doctor stoppage against him, he probably should get ranked featherweight. And there definitely is an argument to that, and I do agree with that personally, especially since how good he looks he's looked in his UFC run so far, and he's fighting against a very good striker, another guy who's a pretty good striker, Melsik Baksarin. That last name gives me troubles. Bakhasarin. Now, the name of Melsik is that he hasn't fought since July of 2023, so it's been a year and a half since he's fought, and he got a victory his last fight. And the thing with Melsik is that his two losses are by submission. So that's something to watch out for. Maybe Gene Silva can take him down, submit him possibly, because Melsik does have a kickboxing background, comes from kickboxing. Me personally, I'm going Gene Silva just because Gene Silva has been more active and is probably the higher level fighter at the moment than Melsik. Plus you look at the guys Melsik being in the UFC versus Gene Silva, and you can and it's a good case, in my opinion, that Gene Silva is being better competition than Melsik. However, Melsik could probably make it competitive because he's just as good of a striker as He's a pretty good striker and definitely can give Gene Silva problems. Now, if Gene's able to take him down, he'll probably submit him pretty easily, but that's if he could take him down. Gene Silva, we know, likes to strike and things like that. So, but that's why I'm going Gene Silva. I think Gene Silva will probably win a decision, probably be competitive, but Gene Silva will do just enough. Would do just enough to beat him and win those rounds clearly. A 30-27 decision, in my opinion. I'm going Gene Silva just because he's fought better competition and he's not come off a layaway as Melsik Bakhasarin. But who knows? Maybe Bakhasarin can make it more close. Maybe pull the upset. I doubt it. I really do doubt it. But I think there's a small possibility he can make it somewhat competitive, like close in terms of winning a round. But I think Gene Silva will be able to do enough to win all 3 rounds. I could be wrong. Maybe you lose a round, but I don't expect it. I think Gene Silva should win comfortably. I think he's just better. But wait and see. As we transition from that fight to an important middleweight fight between Brandon Allen, number 9 ranked, and number 12 ranked Anthony Hernandez. Now, if you watched my last video about Jared Cannonier and Gregor Rodriguez, breaking down that fight in terms of what happened, I said Jared Cannonier should fight the winner of this fight, and I do believe that. It doesn't, regardless who wins this fight, I think Cannonier should fight the winner of this fight, and this is a very good fight. These guys have fought before. For those of you don't know, they fought in the LFA, if I'm mistaken, and in the regional scene, Anthony Hernandez did beat Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen's gone on to UFC and has done well for the most part, and until his last fight against Nazadin Mavov, where he showed bad fight IQ, just terrible fight IQ in that fight, just going for takedowns and not going for more strikes as he was beating up Nazadin Mavov in striking. Brandon Allen, that is. I don't know what he was thinking there. Just terrible fight IQ, just really bad fight IQ, and that's the reason why he lost that fight. Now, Anthony Hernandez come off that victory over Michel Pereira, where he was able to finish him in round 5 of that fight after Michel Pereira basically gassed out after like a minute of offense. I mean, that still surprised me what Michel Pereira did, where he basically just gassed out so quickly. I still can't believe that, but. This fight, both guys have made improvements since that first fight in the regional scene. Brandon Allen's good. Like he has very underrated striking. Like his striking's gotten a lot better. Like he might be the more technical striker than Anthony Hernandez, but Hernandez has probably got the better cardio and the better like pressure. Like he's able to push the pace better than Brandon Allen. I'm going Anthony Hernandez in this fight personally. Like he'll probably win a decision, like maybe a 29-28 decision where Allen wins the first round, but then Hernandez cardio and pressure he's able to put on a pace and be able to break Allen down and be able to win the last 2 rounds. The thing that worries me for Hernandez is that Hernandez is prime built for a 5-round style, whereas Brandon where he might start off slower, where Brandon Allen might be able to start faster. As his last fight was a 3-round fight, and I don't recall Brandon Allen having too many 5-round fights in his career that I can recall. Maybe he might have main event at one UFC event. I just don't recall at the moment, but still, I think Allen, excuse me, fight style might be better off for a 3-rounder, especially in terms of starting fast, especially in a 3-round fight. That's very important versus a 5-round fight where starting off fast doesn't give you being the fastest starter doesn't give you as much as advantage as it does in 3-round fight. But I think with Brent Allen, like I mentioned, his fight IQ in that last fight was so bad that's I'm having a hard time trusting him. Maybe I shouldn't feel that way. Maybe I'm being too hard on Brandon Allen, but still, I just feel like the way he fought in that Mava fight and that lack of fight IQ, just like, oh yeah, especially hearing Bedtime and May go off on him for how bad he was in that fight and the fight IQ, especially since he picked him. Oh my goodness, I mean, that was fun to listen to. If you haven't had a chance, go look up Bedtime and May, Brendan Allen rant. That was funny as fuck. That was funny, but yeah, I'm going Hernandez 29-20 decision. I think Allen won the first round. I think Allen will show a better striking in the first round, just more technical striking. But Hernandez will be able to possibly put more pressure on him and be able to take him down. Try to go for takedowns and just use his cardio to his advantage. Brandon Allen does come from jiu-jitsu, has a jiu-jitsu background. You would think that might be able to neutralize some of Anthony Hernandez's grappling, but Hernandez, I think his style is just so persistent, just keeps going that he'll just might be able to take down Allen, despite Allen doing well stuff and some takedowns. He just might be able to just take him down and be able to go for submissions himself in top position or maybe some ground and pound because Hernandez does have decent strike. He has good striking, but it's not as technical as Brandon Allen, whereas Brandon Allen seems to be like the more like technical striker. Not that he's not. I'm not saying Allen's like like Pereira or Pierre Yan in terms of his striking, but I'm just saying like at least two fighters, he's the more technical striker, the better striker in my opinion. But I just don't think that's going to be enough to beat Hernandez, as I think Hernandez is like I said, style. It will break Brandon Allen, and he'll be able to win the last 2 rounds. That's why I'm going there. I can see Allen win that fight though. It could happen, but I'm gonna trust Hernandez in this situation. We'll see as we go from there to the main event of this card. Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, number 7 versus number 8. Cejudo's coming off that loss to Merab Dvalishvili, where he lost the last 2 rounds. So they win the first 2 rounds and rocking Merab. Song Yadong's coming off that fight with Pierre Yan, where it was a split. I think it was a split decision victory for Yadong. I mean, excuse me, split decision loss. Ugh, I don't know why I said victory. My bad. Split decision loss to Pierre Yan, where everyone thought where you watched that fight, Yadong clearly won the first round. Now, my opinion, Pierre Yan won that fight. I don't know how you give this round 2 or round 3 to Yadong personally, even though the fight was competitive, but Yan didn't have to win. But anyway, looking on to this fight. Cejudo is Olympic gold medalist as a wrestler. We know he has that wrestling pedigree. Although his recent fights doesn't use his wrestling as much as he did early in his career. And the thing with Yadong is that Yadong is he's a very elite striker, very good. He's got 5-round experience. He fought Corey Sangan in the fight, and he lost that fight. Still fought 5 rounds there. I think he main evented against Ricky Simone, trained for 5 rounds, knocked out Ricky Simone. And I think he may have one more 5-round fight, if I'm not mistaken. I know he has those 2. But the thing with Cejudo is that Cejudo has, implemented more of a karate style of striking. So, and likes, karate stance in terms of when he fights and has worked on his striking. He'll sometimes throw a leg kick, Cejudo. But the thing is, Song Yadong to me is a much better striker than Henry Cejudo. He just is more technical and definitely powerful. Cejudo's got power in his shots, but I feel like Yadong might have just a little bit more power in terms of his strikes. And I think Yadong might be able to catch Cejudo and be able to rock him. It's possible he might TKO Cejudo or get a decision victory. I might be like TKO. I mean like TKO in later rounds because Cejudo is tough. I just don't see Cejudo getting knocked out in the first 2 rounds, especially as that Mexican chin, which is legendary, obviously. Unless you don't catch him with a head kick. But Yadong's a very good boxer, very good strike, very great striker. He's got solid, solid in the ground. He's solid in the ground. Unless Cejudo just has been working on his wrestling. I know he's an Olympic gold medalist, but he has, like I said, he's used wrestling a while. Unless Cejudo just uses his wrestling a lot and just goes for a bunch of takedowns, try to tire him so Yadong out, so that we can finish in later rounds, and is able to hold him down. I don't see Cejudo win his fights. That's the only way he's gonna win is by taking him down and tiring him out, which I don't think he's gonna do because I don't see Cejudo use wrestling in early rounds in a while. I think he took Marab down if I remember correctly. I think he did take Marab down. He did take Marab down in his last fight, but he. I know people might say, well, if he took down Marab, he should be able to take down Saul Yadong. But the thing is, Cejudo doesn't really go for that as much and hasn't had a lot of success as you would expect him to, taking guys down, holding them down in his recent fights as you would think he would. I know Yudong's not a wrestler, so maybe that might help him have more success. But Yudong does train Team Alpha Male, which if you know about Team Alpha Male, those guys are filled with wrestlers. So he's trained with a lot of great wrestlers, especially with takedown defense and etc. So I'm pretty sure he's been working on that, knowing he's going against an Olympic gold medalist in Henry Cejudo. And like I said, Cejudo doesn't striking. He's not as good as Yudong. Yudong might be able to catch him and hurt him badly. And I think that's what's going to happen. So Yudong's probably going to do a lot better with his wrestling defense. He's probably going to get up, and he's probably going to beat up Cejudo on the feet. But since Cejudo tries to go for strikes, probably leave himself open to get countered by Yudong. That's probably what's going to happen. And Yudong's probably going to get a decision, like a 49-46, in my opinion, or get a late stoppage, like late round stoppage, rather, excuse me, like a 4/5 round stoppage by TKO against Cejudo. It's probably what's going to happen. Like I said, Cejudo's got a Mexican shin, so I don't see him getting knocked out. Probably seeing him dropped and beat up and ground and pound to the point the ref has to stop in because he's taking a lot of unanswered shots. I think Yadong's gonna get the victory over Cejudo, and Cejudo might retire after this fight. We'll wait and see. But yeah, my predictions for this card, those 3 fights: Gene Silva by decision, Hernandez by decision, 29-28, and Yadong by decision or TKO in the later rounds. Anyway, that's my video. That's the end of this video. Sorry I couldn't do a full breakdown, but like I said, I don't know much about Gene Masamoto or Julius Walker to make a prediction about those other fights. But I am excited for this card still, despite some of these other fights getting pulled out. Don't get me wrong. If Curtis Blades and Edson Barboza and Dominic Cruz on this card, I'll be way more excited for this card. But still, it's still a solid fight night, despite losing those fights I mentioned in the beginning of the video. But anyway, let me know what you guys think is gonna win these fights and why. I'd like to read your comments. Don't forget to like this video. Thank you guys for watching and listening. I'll see you next time. Peace. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.